Hello, everybody, and welcome to Devis Scotus. Today, our challenge is to draw something. So, a little bit of a caveat because obviously we've done the self portraits, which I had been drawing, and then I had the Devis Mimus Scotus or whatever, and we also did some drawing, but it's another drawing day, and I love drawing, so I'm not going to complain. And you know what? If you complain, I'm not going to be listening, so that's your issue. But I'm gonna take this time today to say immediately, I don't know how long this video is gonna be because I haven't fully decided how long I'm gonna go with this. So I'm using this challenge as an excuse to continue working on a drawing that I've already been in the progress of, and I just figured while I'm drawing, messing with it, I talk to you guys about different things, different thoughts that have been on my mind. And you might not see the end of it, but it's fun. So let's get right into it. There we are. If I lean forward, is that gonna? Yeah, that's maybe a little bit more. There we go. Because I am gonna be leaning forward for this. Okay. So something that I've been working on is I am doing another big group little project thingy. So I've made a lot of drawings of me and my friends in the past. There's about 12 of us, so there's like 12 characters a lot of the time when I do something like that. And it's big projects. It takes a lot of time, but I enjoy them. I've done them for Fallouts, for Dragon Ball. Now I'm doing Power Rangers, as you might be able to tell from the helmet right there. Uh, there. There. Yeah. So that's what I'm gonna be working on today. Is I have another friend. This is going to be our Maroon Space Ranger. I know. You probably don't remember a Maroon Space Ranger, but there's all kinds of different Ranger colors. They just kind of show up, and you know what? I want to have fun with it. I want to make it the way that I think my friends would like it. So that's what's happening here. So I'm gonna start working on it now. But I wanted to talk. One thing I had on my mind to talk about today, at least, was the fact that we have successfully recorded 2 full months of Devis Scotus now, which is huge. I'm gonna say Devis Scotus, in a way, is like the biggest New Year's resolution that I've ever done. Which, to be clear, it's not supposed to be a New Year's resolution. That's not what this is all about. It just so happens that I was like, you know what, a good starting point would be the new year. Like, this would be a great time to actually get like a full year in and keep track of like when things started, when it should end. But and in that case, it did kind of become a New Year's resolution, right? But 2 months, that is insane. Because not only is it like the biggest New Year's resolution I've ever made, it is the biggest New Year's resolution that I have actually stuck to, which is the big key there, right? Because typically, when people make New Year's resolutions, they fall off. Myself included. Especially when I was younger, would come up with a lot of grand ideas for what I'm going to do for this new year. And when you make really big plans, they're really hard to stick to, actually, believe it or not. So being able to do 2 full months now and successfully had 2 months of doing these challenges, me personally being on recording every single day, it's huge for me. Like I've already been just like, I don't know. I feel like this year already, with just 2 months down, has been so different than so many of my past like couple of years. And obviously every year is different, right? I don't know. I know, in like a rare sense of, I know looking forward, that this is going to be something that I look back fondly on. Which I can't say that for everything, because obviously hindsight's 2020. You never know what exactly is going to be the thing where you're like, oh, I'm gonna be just like, maybe I'll really look back on that fondly. Maybe you actually hate it at the time, and then you look back on it fondly. Or, you know, tons of other things. But this is one where I'm like, no, I know from the get-go, or at least from this point forward, right, that I am going to look back on this just so fondly because of the fact that it is already been just so awesome and cool. I think that needs to be raised up a bit. Sorry, I am kind of half focusing on my conversation and half focusing on my drawing. But yeah, it's been just so cool already, and I don't know, I've done so many, we've done so many memorable things already that I'm going to just look back on and smile. And this year, it just feels so different already. Like, obviously, smaller changes where we just do random stuff in videos, but other things like, God, what am I trying to say? It is hard to draw and have more complex thoughts at the same time, apparently. But, like, I've changed up my room, and that was a cool thing, and that's a change that I notice every single day. And I think change in general is what I was trying to get at, because not only has doing a new challenge every day changed my perspective on how I think creatively, it has also changed the way I look at a bunch of different stuff. Like, it's changed my attitude in general. I admittedly, and this is not something I'm proud to say, I've become a lot more pessimistic over the years. It's not something I'm happy about, but I think maybe it's just a little bit of growing older, you know. But obviously not everybody's pessimistic as they grow older. But I definitely felt myself becoming that way, and I became a lot more tired as a result of it as well. Maybe a little bit of depression, if I'm being honest. But I don't know. I going through Devis Scottus every day, doing these different things. I think it's ironically, as stupid as Devis Scottus is most of the time when we're doing just this stupid random stuff and the videos that are kind of low effort every once in a while, like my video probably yesterday, it really has just helped me feel better, not only about myself, but kind of life in general. And I think it's just the fact that every day I feel a little accomplished. I come into these videos and I always try to bring a happier mood. And I think that's helping my mindset as well because, you know, there is the old, you know, fake it till you make it mentality. And it really does affect how you feel. If you're trying to make yourself feel happy and you're doing that enough days in a row, chances are you'll maybe feel a little bit better. Now, that's not advice, you know, that doesn't work for everybody. But it can work on the occasion, and I think it's working for me in this scenario. I don't know. My point is that I have been feeling happier. I've been feeling better about myself, about my life, and I partially have Devis Goddess to blame. And, you know, I'm really happy about that. I think it's also been nice just constantly having Scott around. So you can maybe be a little bit much sometimes, but I genuinely do love to hear from him every day. And I think it's also a comforting thing to know that even on the days that we're not recording together, there is someone following alongside me in each challenge that I do. I don't know. I'm also not good at opening up a lot, so talking about things like my feelings and stuff like that sometimes gets me to clam up a little bit. So if I go quiet at any time, just know I'm just processing and trying to figure out how to convey what I'm trying to say next. But yeah, like I said, I don't know, I've been really happy with Deviscatus. And even outside of Deviscatus, because we keep trying to do new things each time, and I say that during the third video that I have done where I have sat here and drawn things. All different things have, mind you, but still drawing nonetheless. But trying to do different things has made me want to try more things just in my normal day life outside of Deviscatus as well. I've started playing some new games that I've never played. I bought some cookbooks recently. I want to try cooking some things that I've never made. I'm working on new projects at work, which not really optional stuff there, but it's still new stuff in general, and I don't know, I am kind of pumped about it at the same time. I mean, granted, my whole job is sort of new, more or less. Like, so my job, I recently, like, I had a full year at my new job yet. I'm currently, I think, at about 8 months at this job, which granted isn't like super new, but it's also not like I've been here my whole life yet, you know? I mean, far from it. I haven't even been here a full year yet. You know, and it is weird too. Talking more about like the things that we feel oddly nostalgic for, or like we know that we're gonna feel nostalgic for. My old job is one that I, at the time, was like super tired, just wanted to leave, was not happy to be there anymore. Like, when I first started, it was intimidating. Then after a while, I got used to it, and I felt comfortable and confident in it. And then I just started getting burnt out with it, and I was just like, man, I do not want to work here anymore. Like, I really don't enjoy it. I gotta find a better job. But now that I've had so much time away, I'm like oddly nostalgic for it at the same time. And I don't know if it's as much the work as maybe it is I'm nostalgic for one, maybe the person I was at that time. Which granted, again, not something that I would have guessed. But also I think I'm nostalgic for the friends I made there, you know? Because I tend to make friends at my workplaces. And it's not like a friendship where I would probably hang out with them outside of work. But it is a friendship that I enjoy seeing them at work. And I do look forward to seeing them each next work day, you know? I don't know if other people have that. I don't know if that makes sense to most people, but it makes sense to me. And it's something that I noticed. I actually, like, recently, I actually reached out to follow um, a former coworker on Instagram, just because I was like, man, I had so much fun hanging out with them when we worked together. And I hope they're doing well, and I hope they're doing good. Well, I hope they're doing good, not well, you know? I'd settle for well, but I'd hope they're doing good. I just hope that things are going good for them. And maybe it's just part of the fact that I am a sentimental guy in general. Like, I do my best to not forget the names of past coworkers that like I genuinely enjoyed having around. Like, to the point where I will sometimes sit somewhere or like be doing something and be like, what was their name again? Hey, you need to repeat this name to yourself a couple of times so that you don't forget it and stuff like that. And you might be thinking, well, Devin, why don't you just write it down? But I don't know. It's not the same. It it's not the same as making yourself committed to memory in a like mental way versus a physical way, I feel like. No shame on anyone who does try to remember things by writing them down. That's the smarter thing to do, and I am not a smart man. But I don't know. Like I said, just one of those things that I've felt nostalgic for lately. And it's weird because, like I said, I obviously, towards the end of it, was not enjoying myself. I did not want to be there. I think it's like the rose tinted goggles of it, where it's like, while it's happening, you don't enjoy it. But when you know it's no longer going to happen, you get like that weird nostalgia of, it wasn't all bad, right? And it also doesn't help that like I connected to the things I do like, and those memories get like conflicted and sewn together in ways they probably shouldn't. Like I know during that job they let us use our headphones a lot, and I would frequently take that time to dive into like lore of series that I love a lot. Specifically for this past job, it was me diving like really into the Elder Scrolls lore. Because like I've dived into the Elder Scrolls lore in the past, but there's still like just so much like Elder Scrolls lore that I really just have like no clue about still. Because that like I knew about the lore from like the Daedric Princes, the big things that are like super cool that everyone wants to know about. And I also know about like stuff that happens in the games that I played and stuff like that, or times around my era. But the Elder Scrolls has been going on for like a long, long time, if you didn't know. And there's a lot of cool stuff that happened in those older games that I really want to know about. Ironically, it's actually the reason why this past year I went back and finally played Morrowind for the first time. I was super pumped to actually play it. And it gave me that same sense of accomplishment when I got good at it as I did with Fallout 1 and Fallout 2. Because Fallout 1 and 2 are hard to get into as well. They have very complicated systems, and like they take a minute to really get the hang of it, but if you can learn it, it it's so gratifying to do good in that game when it kicks your ass for like the first 10 hours, and then when you actually get it, it all finally clicks and you're kicking everything's ass. You feel so strong and you feel so good about it. Morrowind was much the same way. I tried starting Morrowind like 2 3 times before that time that I finally played it recently and beat it. And each time that I started it, I was like, "Oh, this feels bad. I feel like I'm gonna be really bad at this. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this." And I gave up and quit. But when I finally came back to it recently, and like I sat down and I told myself, "No, Devin, I want you to really sit here, really try this. Like put some time into making sure that you can actually try to get this done." Because I felt greatly that if I could just get into it, I would enjoy it the same way that I enjoyed Fallout 1 and 2 when I really got into it. And sure enough, I did. I did eventually get really into it. Oh, we're at like almost 20 minutes. Maybe I should cut this here. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to talk a little bit longer. I'll try not to go too much over because I want to respect people's times. I know that this is probably not the most engaging thing for people, but I did want to take a moment to talk about Power Rangers because that was another topic, and I know I've kind of been rambling this entire time, and I apologize for that. But I wanted to talk about Power Rangers because Power Rangers I've recently gotten back into, and it's such a weird thing because as a kid, I was very self-conscious about like what was cool and stuff like that. And this was a series that I loved as a younger kid. But then as I grew up, it was like, oh, well, Power Rangers isn't cool. If you watch Power Rangers, you're like a baby or something like that. Typical kid stuff where all the other kids will bully you for stupid reasons. Kids are mean. Kids are just mean, mean, mean things. And so I kind of had to, well, I kind of felt like I had to abandon Power Rangers. And now that I've come back to it, I've just been kind of finding joy diving into like the lore that's been established over the years. And like granted, the actual show is still very kid centric. It's geared towards kids in its like storytelling, characters and stuff like that. It's story like yeah. But because of the fact that, there's been generations now raised on Power Rangers, they have actually developed comics and lore for kind of older fans that kind of grew up with the series and want to still have that enjoyment of it. And I've recently been diving into all that. I love diving into lore of series, if you haven't been able to tell yet. And some of the stuff in it is just so cool, and it's been what's kind of continued to drive me to like sticking on this kind of hype train of Power Rangers that I've been on. But I don't know. This morning I kind of woke up and I felt like oddly embarrassed about it again. And it was a really bad feeling, and I know that I'm an adult now and I shouldn't care what other people think. It's more of just like if I enjoy it, I should enjoy it kind of thing. But it's hard. I don't like feeling different in a bad way, and I don't think anybody does. And I don't know. I don't want to abandon Power Rangers again because like I said, I've been enjoying myself. I feel like I'm giving myself the time to enjoy it that I never really gave myself as a kid. And I think that's why I don't want to let go of it again right now. Maybe eventually. I mean, definitely eventually, because I don't ever stick to a series and just stay with it forever. Except for Fallout. Fallout's like the one thing that like I can like no matter the time period, I'll always be pumped for it. But I go through like phases. Like sometimes I'm really into something, and then other times I'm just like, I could care less about it at the moment. I do that with the Elder Scrolls. I do that with tons of things. Borderlands. Gosh, let me look around my room real quick. Dragon Ball Z, Star Wars. Obviously not Fallout, because Fallout, that's my thing. But like I said, there's times where I'm super pumped about something one moment, and then the next moment I'm not as pumped. But so eventually I will fall off of sticking to the Power Rangers stuff. But for now, I kind of just want to enjoy it. I don't know. I don't want to let it go yet. And I hope I can get over my insecureness about liking it. I don't know. It all goes back to like when I was younger. Like the kids in my neighborhood were kind of, well, all kids are mean, like I stated. But there was a lot of things that we got picked on by the older kids in our neighborhood for. And I still think about that. I shouldn't. It doesn't matter. It happened so long ago. But I do sometimes. Not in like, oh, I'm gonna get them back or anything like that, because, they've grown up, they're mature, they're good people now. I say now like they weren't good people as kids. Kids are just bad. I don't think there's any good kid. Dude, if you think you know a good kid, I don't think you do. I think the kid's just secretly evil. Kids are evil. That is my statement here today. No. I think truthfully they're just unintentionally rude and mean to each other because they don't think too deeply about anything they do. I know I definitely did some stuff like that where like I only realized when like the person's feelings got hurt and then I would feel bad about it. But I just would say and do things without thinking too deeply about it. And that's just kids. Kids are dumb. the stream where Devin sits here and talks about how kids are dumb and evil and bad. Now that's content right there, baby. Okay. Held you guys up long enough. This is 25 minutes now that we've been going. You won't get to see the end, but you got to see a little bit. Truthfully, I don't even know how much of this drawing I really got done. But at least you got to listen to me talk for a while. Because is that not why you're really here? Do you really care about how my little drawing comes out? No. You're here for this. You're here for all this. My messy, greasy hair. My unshaved face at the moment. That's what you're really here for. Oh, fuck. What was my catchphrase from yesterday? Time's ticking away, but in our memories they stay. I actually don't know if that was, but that sounds better. So let's stick with that. All right, I'm gonna let you all go. I'll talk to you all later, and remember, time's ticking away, but our memories are here to stay.